Hi guys, Penny Rose Journals. How you doing? Okay, yes, I am back with more of this slip knot binding. I found this on my desk. This is a piece of corrugated card with a napkin over it that I have had for eons, and these are the scraps of the collaged card that are left over from making those other little journals. So I am going to add to those and make another little journal, and this piece of card is going to be my back cover. I don't know what I'm going to use for the front cover. I was going to use the piece of card, but then I decided I wanted to do something else. So yeah, we're going to cut everything about the same size as the card and round the corners off, and then yeah, I'm going to find some other stuff to make pages, and we're going to make a proper little journal with the slip knot binding, and hopefully that will get it out of my system and you won't have to see me do it again for a while. I won't show you the entire binding of this one because I literally did it at the beginning of the week, so you can go back and watch it there if you want to. But I might leave a couple of pages in just because why not? And yeah, the rest of it, well, you'll see most of it. So in the end, we'll end up with a little journal that I'm quite happy with, and maybe in future we might decorate it a bit further, but today we're just going to make it all into a journal from this point to finished journal, essentially. Again, I'm not making these pages all the same size. They will all be virtually the same height. It just makes the binding together easier. But the width of the pages will be whatever it is. I will try and make most of them the same, but you know, I'm limited to my pieces of card here. I am going to have a few scraps of this card left over, and I will just make little journal cards down the track for this journal. And pop them in the pockets because there will be plenty of pockets in this particular journal. So that's the plan. I'll put those aside and we'll worry about those another day. But for now, we have all sorts of different sized pages here. I'm going to scrape some white acrylic paint over them like I did with the last lot, just so you have a bit of a writing surface, and yeah, then move on to finding other things to pop into this journal. Like these brown paper bags that have been glued face to face, which make kind of sturdy little pages. And I also have some suspension folder here that has been left out in the sun for some weeks, months, years, who knows. I found it out there a while ago and forget when I put it out there, so yeah. We are going to make pages out of that as well. I want these pages to be quite sturdy because with the slip knot binding, I think if you use paper that's too thin, you come up against the problem of tearing through the holes. I will reinforce the holes of these pages anyway. Not that the suspension folder really needs it, but the brown paper I would be concerned that it would tear through even though it is doubled over and glued. But yeah, I'm going to make these into sort of flip out pockets. You'll see as we go. And yeah, there will be probably a pocket in most of the pages here. There'll be very few pages that aren't a working pocket. Now, when it comes to making these pockets and securing these pockets, mostly I'm going to sew. Obviously, you could do this with glue. I have the sewing machine. I'm happy to run paper through it, so I will sew mine. You'll see them as I go along. I will sort of glue some bits of paper over them and take them away and sew them and show you when I'm done. But yeah, everything I do here could be done with glue. I just choose to sew. It's quicker and easier, and I don't really like glue that much, to be honest. I hate getting sticky. I've definitely chosen the wrong hobby. Okay, I have these small manila envelopes. The marks left on them by the batch dyeing are just gorgeous. The glue on these envelopes has dissolved during the batch dyeing, so they are no longer glued. So what I am going to do is tear them down to the size I want them, and they're going to be big top-loading pockets. Now they're a little bit wide for the book, so I am just going to sort of pull apart those seams that they have and refold them and glue them to a size that works better for this journal. And the side that I glue down, I am going to use that side to punch my holes through, because it will be a little bit more sturdy because it's been refolded. So yeah, that's my plan. I'll also reinforce them as well, but that provides a little bit of reinforcement right at the get-go. I'm just folding over the top of these pockets, one to make them a little more sturdy, you're taking things in and out of them all the time, but two, just to fit them nicely into the page. They were a bit tall, so folding down the tops serves both purposes. Then I'm just going to cover it with a little bit of this sort of scrap that's left over from the envelopes, just to sort of match everything together. Okay, here they are all sewn together. As you can see, we have some pockets that you just load from the front there, and little side pockets as well. So, and a corner pocket, just because I had that sort of pocket floating around in my drawer for about 3 months. Has been driving me mad, so I just sewed it to the page. I'm glad to see the back of it. Okay, these suspension folders, as I said, I'm going to stick these together as big flip out pockets. Almost said flop out pickets, but anyway. I'll leave that in for you to ponder. I will do a little bit of sewing on these just to secure it in the end, but I'm going to use scraps of just paper to close the pockets and secure them to start with, just because I think it'll look more interesting that way. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll take them off to the sewing machine and just sew basically a stitch close to that fold where they flip out, just to make sure that they're secure and don't pop open again. So you'll see as I go along anyway. And of course I continued on and finished all these up, but my camera did die, so I knew it was going flat, and I knew I wouldn't get all of this footage, but you got enough to see basically what I did to make all the pages. So we'll move on to kind of putting it together now and get it bound up and an entire journal. And you'll get to see all the pages, of course. Okay, you can see down the side of these pages I have reinforced them with a piece of paper and or card that was left over from the folder, and or bits of brown paper, whatever I had lying around. So yeah, everything's been sewn and reinforced down the side there, and that's where we're going to punch our holes. So yeah, these are all our pages. Now it was at some stage after I finished making all the pages that I decided that piece of corrugated card was going to be our back cover, and our front cover was going to be made out of just a brown paper bag. So we have a brown paper bag that I folded and sewed. You can see it here, and that's the entry of the brown paper bag. So yeah, it was just a small bag, and I've just scraped some paint over it when I went to scrape paint over the other pages. So that won't be decorated today. We will get around to that, I think, maybe decorating the front of it and maybe popping some things in the pockets at some stage. But yeah, that's our cover. Now I'm going to punch my holes in it. What I should have done right at the get-go here was go and get my Japanese hole punch, which I did not do because I was lazy. So instead I punched all of these holes with just a hand punch, which I did regret because my hand hurt quite a bit after I was done. But the hand punch would not go through this brown paper bag. I really did try, and I had to go and get the hole punch, the Japanese hole punch at the end anyway. So should have saved myself the effort and done it at the beginning, but it is what it is, and I am a lazy cretin. But you know, I suffer for it, so I guess yeah. Karma got me. You'll notice that I redrew that hole after flipping the page over the correct way. I realised that with my measuring skills there was zero chance that middle hole was going to be equidistant from the top and bottom holes, so I really needed to hold the page the right way around when I was making holes in everything else. So yeah, keep that in mind if you have measuring skills that are like mine, I guess. Okay, I cut out all that hole punching because that was annoying and tedious. It's time to get it bound, and I'm going to bind it exactly the same way we did the one earlier in the week. I'm going to take the string 7 times the amount of pages in centimetres. So I have a bunch of pages, I times it by 7, and that's how many centimetres I needed. It worked out to be just over a metre of string, which seemed excessive to me, but worked out perfectly. I did 1.2 metres, 120 centimetres, fold it in half and bound this, and was left with a decent amount of string, but not a ridiculous amount, enough to work with without, having to fiddle around. But it did seem excessive when I had to measure it out. Don't be scared of that. Go with it, because you need that that excess just to make it easy for yourself. You don't want to end up with too little string to put your book together. So the pages times 7 in centimetres is definitely a good gauge of how much string you're going to need. So yeah, you saw me do this at the beginning of the week. If you didn't, please go back and check out, I think it was Monday's video, because I went through this very slowly. I'm not going to do that today. We're just going to do a couple of pages. I fold my string in half, I poke it through the front of the page to the back, and then pull it through, put the ends through the loop and pull it so it's a slip knot, hence slip knot binding. So yeah, and then you just go page by page after that, going through the top of the page. In between the pages, you only ever do 1 page at a time, and then poke the ends of your string through themselves, through the loop, and pulling it tight. They don't have to be very tight, but just make sure it's firm so you don't have any loose stitching. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to get on with it. I like to sort of drape it over my desk like this so that I can keep an eye on the strings. You don't want your strings becoming tangled, because then it's difficult to get your string through itself at the back through the loops. So yeah, you kind of want to separate your strands so that you can get them through successfully, and yeah, just make things easy on yourself basically. Give yourself plenty to look at. This little book answered my questions about making bigger books this way as well. I probably wouldn't make anything much bigger than this in this fashion, only because it doesn't open flat. Yeah, it might be a little awkward to work in, but it's an interesting look and it's an interesting way to put together loose pages, so definitely give it a go. I think it's a quite a nice book as long as you've got quite sturdy pages. I don't think you want to do this with very delicate pages. Like I say, they would tear where the string goes through the holes. But with stronger pages, I think it's a perfectly serviceable way to build a decent sized little book that looks super interesting. It's quite cool. Okay, that's all our pages done. We just have this front page to do, the cover. And again, this is put on exactly the same way as all the other pages, except you then take the two strings and knot them around. You twist them around the knot and tie them in a double knot at the back. You'll see me do that once I've got them all through the holes. Yeah, you just take one side around inside the book and outside the spine again, and the other one around the other way, and then just tie it around the knot. Secures it nicely, and then you can dangle beads on it or snip it off or do whatever you like. Yeah, I'm going to leave it as it is today, and we may come back and do some more to it another day. But here is our little book. She's looking quite neat. I'll show you the spine once I've got all these knots done, and you can see it looks quite neat and tidy and quite interesting. Of course, this is double coloured string, so I guess it adds to the effect anyway, but yeah, I think it looks quite good just with plain. The ones that I did before just had red twine, and they do look kind of interesting. It's hard to tell how you've put it together, unless you're a expert at knots, I suppose. Anyway, there she is. There's the spine. I think it looks great. So I'm happy with it, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. Thanks very much for spending your time with me today, guys. I really do appreciate your company. Have a great day, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.